You know what I don't like? I don't like being sold to every day. Good morning, you guys. Happy Friday. I have been feeling really torn lately. I have been thinking a lot about consumerism, about shopping habits, about, healthy spending, all of that jazz. And that led me to this feeling of being torn in between me enjoying beauty content, right? I love beauty, I love makeup, I love hair care, I love skincare, but you know what I don't like? I don't like being sold to every day. Y'all, everywhere we go, morning, noon, and night, we are being sold to. And I think this isn't something that is any individual creator's fault or something that happened overnight. It happened quite gradually, right? We saw the changes. If we're using the beauty community as a case example, we saw the changes that happened, right? We saw the transition from people who genuinely enjoyed makeup. They talked about, application tips, application techniques. They found a new lip gloss that they liked. They showed us how to use that lip gloss. Then we started seeing people coming out with coupon codes, right? We started, seeing people come out with their discount codes. I really like this Sigma Beauty brush set, so use my code to get 10% off. Then we started seeing people work exclusively with certain brands. Then we started just grabbing my foundation or tinted moisturizer of the day. Then we started seeing, the sponsorship era. Then we started seeing the brand trip era. And at that point, influencing and brand trips and, people saying this is the most amazing product ever were, pretty limited to big YouTubers, right? People that had a following, people that were in the industry for years, people that, started out for the love of the game and then got some opportunities. But now I feel like we're at a point where everybody either is or wants to be an influencer. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that, right? Chase a bag, turn up. I love that for you. But every time we open TikTok, we open Instagram, there is somebody talking about this is the best product ever. This is amazing. You need to buy this. And it doesn't feel as authentic, right? There was a sweet spot where the beauty community and when we were talking about certain products, it was authentic. But then everybody's an influencer now, and it feels like, I think it's a little odd to me when I'm seeing, up and coming people who want to become influencers, who want to, work with brands and sell products. They're saying things like, my dream sponsorship is, or I'd love to work with this brand. And that really got me thinking that it's not about the love of the product or sharing a tip or technique or making people feel beautiful. It is about this loyalty to a brand. It is about framing yourself in the best possible way to get noticed by a brand. It is about, getting the biggest following or, proving to yourself that, or proving to these brands rather, that you are someone that is worthy of selling their product. And I don't like that. I don't like that because it feels like we are just, at least I'm not going to speak for everyone. I am just tired of being sold to, and I'm seeing a lot more conversations about consumerism and more specifically anti-consumerism and how society has just had this big aha moment where we no longer care about owning all the things. We are caring about setting ourselves up for financial success. And of course, that's just not an aha moment that came out of the blue. That has a lot of roots in the economy, cost of living crisis, housing crisis, politics. There's a lot of things going on there. But in looking at a lot of this anti-consumerist rhetoric and one of my new favorite YouTube words, the discourse, I am seeing a bit of a mind shift in certain spaces about people really highlighting more about not just buying everything because of your favorite influencer who has a loyalty or a want to get noticed by a brand, or, you know, whatever their motives are. We're seeing this shift where we, and I'm using we as in capital W, where society no longer feels this undying loyalty because everybody tired of being sold to, right? Every product cannot be the most amazing product. Every product cannot be, you need to rush out and buy this as soon as possible. We need to bring back feeling just okay about products, right? Feeling okay about your concealer, your blush, whatever. Like, it is okay for a product just to be okay, right? We don't need people doing close-ups and talking about how amazing this product is solely for the purpose of getting noticed by a brand or for selling us something. I think we're seeing a shift where we are just all past that. We don't want it no more, okay? And I think part of that conversation as well is realizing that, again, it is not the fault of a particular influencer or even a group of influencers, because the job of an influencer is to influence. So part of this is us as consumers realizing that we are being sold to, right? And I know there was an era in which there were a lot of undisclosed sponsorships, undisclosed ads, and so people were feeling like, I trust this influencer, which that's another topic. We should not be trusting strangers on the internet, y'all. But I trust this influencer, I trust their recommendations, and then surprise, 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 it turns out that that influencer was getting paid to talk about a certain product. So of course there was that era where, you know, there were the undisclosed sponsorships. But going back to my point that we as consumers need to realize that we are constantly being sold to, and there is a point of ownership where we decide that we need to be a little bit more critical with not only the content that we are consuming, but a bit of a more critical analysis of what the content is and why the content is, right? If all day, every day, you are watching Sephora hauls, you're watching try-on videos, you're watching come shop with me, you're watching PR unboxings, that is going to create a mindset of buy, I need this. And there's also a part of you, especially if you're seeing the people that are doing these things, living an aspirational lifestyle or something that you desire, you may start to associate buying and purchasing and shopping with that aspirational lifestyle. So I say all that not to say don't consume beauty content or haul content, but to consume it with a bit more of a critical lens and a critical perspective, and really keep at the back of your mind that this is some people's jobs, right? You are getting paid to do a job, and that job is to influence, that job is to sell. And if we keep that in the back of our minds, I think that will really help with this consumerism bubble that we are all in. And I think what I'm seeing online increasingly more now is some people are realizing that, hey, it's not enough for me just to be aware that I'm being sold to. Some people are really shifting and changing the content that they're consuming, which I think if that's what it takes you to get out of that consumerism headspace, I think that's great. I came across this YouTube video that popped up on my homepage actually just last night, and she was talking about, she's a former beauty YouTuber. I'll have to find her name, it's not coming to me right now, but she was talking about how she's doing something called visual decluttering, wherein it takes on many different forms. So the way that she's doing it is removing the labels off of all of her products. So, and that has really helped her. Instead of saying, I am using my brand XYZ lip gloss, lip liner, whatever the product is, that she's just using a lip gloss. And she's done that with her makeup. She has done that with her cleansers. She's even started doing it with some household items. And when she was explaining it, I thought it was really interesting because she was finding herself getting really attached to brands, right? And getting so attached to brands that it didn't matter what product they put out, or it didn't matter the quality of the product that they put out. She found herself being so loyal to these brands that whenever a brand would come out with a product, she is added to cart. And even if it wasn't the best product, the next time that same brand came out with a product, she added to cart again. And I thought that it was really interesting because I think a lot of us actually function that way. And we can get into a whole other conversation about the aesthetics or the version of ourselves that are portrayed when we use certain brands, right? You using a L'Oreal, whatever, is not going to portray the same image as you using a Gucci, whatever. So that's a whole kind of separate thing. But that got me thinking that maybe part of the solution in terms of us as consumers is just distancing ourselves from the brands. If it's a good lip gloss, it's a good lip gloss, right? Use it regardless of the brand. That also got me thinking about how many products do we use or do we purchase just because it is a brand? Like, for example, if a Birkin or a Kelly wasn't iconicized as a Birkin or a Kelly and it was just an H&M, the exact same quality, the exact same everything, would we buy it? Would the Birkin and the Kelly be so popular or be so aspirational? I'm not sure, actually. And that, again, really got me thinking about, we are so damn loyal to these brands. That's crazy. We're like little machines that are just, sell to me, sell to me. Anyhow, I say all that to say that something that I will be doing as a consumer is using all of my nice things. I don't want to say victim. I was someone that participated in the early beauty YouTube, buy this, get everything phase. So I have a good amount of nice things. And sometimes I will find myself not using my nice things because I'm saving them for a perfect occasion, or, you know, they're too nice, so I don't want to use it up. But isn't that why we bought the thing? To use it? So I'm going to be really challenging myself to use my nice things because we are not here forever. I bought those things for a reason. I'm not going to be, you know, saving this product for this occasion, not only wearing this perfume for this occasion, or, you know, I spent too much on this dress, I don't want to get it dirty. I am going to use my things. And I am really going to, when I think about, you know, the direction that I want my channel to go, and think about you know, the future of my YouTube journey, I know that I started this YouTube journey. I never ever have aspirations of being a full-time YouTuber. I'm sure that, you know, the money is great, but listen, I like me a pension. I like me some pay time off. I like me some job security. So that will never be me. So as I think about, you know, doing this for fun, doing this for creativity, doing this to bring back the enjoyment of beauty and fashion, natural hair, and reintroducing us to tips and tools and techniques instead of products and purchases, I think I'm also going to be a little bit more mindful of not falling into that trap of just selling people things, right? So that's going to be my goal and my challenge to myself as I continue this YouTube journey. And I think we will all be, you know, better, more mindful instead of mindless consumers for it. So those are just a couple of my thoughts around consumerism, brand loyalty, and if you take away anything from this video, I kind of just want us all to be just aware of the societal implications, aware that we are being sold to, and do with that information as you may. And I'm wishing you guys an amazing, happy, fabulous weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. Bye.